As we were before this massive prison underwater, the Lord Angel said, "The devil is the father of lies. These satanic jails have several departments. We will visit each department so that you can see them." We left from there and took a route that had a ravine, and he told me, "We are going to visit now the satanic tribunal, which was inside the prison, and you will see how Satan lead his various trials in judging and prosecuting his captives, and sending them to the dungeon. Thousands and millions of people who live on earth, their life is hidden here in caves and dungeons of the underworld." We saw how people were suffering, without water to drink or to eat. We arrived outside the audience hall and there were 2 guards there. Satanists and witches were coming with their captive that were chained. There were captives that remained there for years without being interviewed. The angel tells me, these people are living in the world, but their spirits have come into captivity here. The devil's goal is to make more of slaves, but Jesus Christ gives freedom, how to free oneself from these satanic prisons. The first thing, you must have knowledge of the influence you suffer from. Some are a slave to alcoholism. They must realize first that alcohol is bad, then the victim will seek the Lord for his freedom. I will explain many things to you how to free oneself from these things, but let's go since we are late with the trial. When we entered, we found the presiding judge in the middle, accompanied by other judges on his right and on his left. Then on the other side there were also judges, but all of these judges had horns on their heads and they had books of black color. These were evil spirit. I saw many Satanists and wizards that came to file complaint against Christian and the people of the world. There were witches that kept coming to initiate legal proceedings against the believer, and these judges were registering these lawsuits, even giving the day of the trial and prosecution of the accused. I saw these judges sending soldiers going all over the world to arrest the accused people so that these accused will attend their trial. The witches and Satanists that lodges a complaint and accusation against people were given soldiers to arrest the accused. The angel tells me those who see soldiers come and arrest them in dreams. These soldiers are from here. The presiding judge who had red eyes hit his stick and said, "We call now the plaintiff and the accused." The plaintiff was accompanied by his witnesses, but the defendant was chained. The demon judge gave the reason for the prosecution and said to the defendant, "You are prospering too much in your business, and you are showing off your wealth in front of people by giving financial help, donation, etc. You think you're the richest of all." The plaintiffs having spoken, he said, "This man is my cousin. He has become rich without letting the family know. I went to visit him. I discovered his fortune. When I am about to leave his place after visiting him, I often ask him something, but he only gives me transport money and keep promising me to come back later. So I brought this transport money that he gave me in our brotherhood." The judge asked the witch, "Where is your brotherhood leader?" I saw his leader that raised his hand, then told the judge. This case was brought to me, and after investigation I found out that this man is rich. His fortune bothers our brother of the brotherhood. That's why I ordered his immediate arrest and preferred that he be transferred here. The presiding judge says to the accused, "You have committed a great offense." When the judges who were the search in the annals of the family of the accused, it was found that his ancestors had to make a pact that stipulate that no one in the family can become witch. The demon judge asked the accused person, "How did you manage to have fortune?" The spiritual law that rule your family say that no one can be rich but someone. How you managed to become rich breaking the law? You will remain detained here, this prison, since you are condemned to lifelong suffering. Now listen carefully to your sentence. All your cars will break down. We will deploy our mechanics that will destroy them entirely. In case these mechanics are not ours, their hands will be cursed to destroy your vehicles. You will have the option of selling. People will come and steal this money after you sold them. For those who have your debts, we harden their hearts to pay you no more. Concerning your bank accounts, shareholders will recover their share of action and you will go bankrupt so that you do not get paid. Your fall will cost just 2 years. The judge ordered the confiscation of all the property of the accused. The angel tells me, warns the people of God, that they always commends their goods in the hands of God. It is written, the heart is crooked above all things, and it is wicked. Jeremiah 17:9. Dear Christians, it is now I speaking to you. Don't show everyone your exploits. Not every man will accept your success in the world. The second trial, there was someone who is a working businessman in the field of engines. He buys in Dubai and imports and sells to Angola. The plaintiff borrowed an engine and he does not want to settle his debt. Seeing the threat of the owner, after an argument, he promised to launch legal proceeding. He went to accuse him in satanic court. The presiding judge says to the accused, "We defend ourselves and the interest of the people who are ours." The presiding judge ordered the arrest and the disappearance of his containers. He told the defendant, "The day when you go to collect them they would be gone. I condemn you for never again finding ways to continue your business. We buried your money and your goods in a coffin." In the third trial, someone set up a clinic. One of the doctors, being a Satanist, was fired because the hospital was prospering and her customers. The satanic doctor filed a complaint to the satanic court and the judge decided sanction as follow: put darkness, chasing the sick by injecting bad behavior to the doctors, finally that he would go bankrupt. Then the plaintiff was given night soldiers to go to carry out their mission, but the judge told him in case of a repercussion it is to his charge. Beside, there was a screen. The judge watched the scene and the angel said to me to observe, as these people weren't. They arrived at the hospital. The demon chief of these soldiers went to a giant spirit who stood in front of the hospital and gave him the search warrant. Afterward he gave them permission to enter to cast spells. The angel tells me the giant spirit is a principality and ruler of the land. That is, when the devil was thrown on the earth, he organized his kingdom. Here I speak to you of this spirit. He appointed those who manage lands, continents, countries, cities, districts, municipalities. In each zone there is a territorial spirit at the head. There he controls people's lives, their interests. He enforces the satanic government in this place, enforcing the plan of the world of darkness. When other people come to this area to operate, they must introduce to him the mandate. He will now authorize by giving your fingerprints etc. As it is there he communicates and he influences the way of life of this district. The territorial spirit has the right to taxes their territories where they rule, that is to say, he can cause deaths, robberies, fights, finally to have a flow of blood, diseases and sufferings etc. After these nocturnal soldiers enter to do their mission, the other trial that followed was of a girl who was married off by her uncle spiritually. Her uncle went to accuse her saying, "I have already married him in the spirit, how can she have another husband? I can't share her with anyone else." Being amazed, I said to the angel, "Isn't that incest?" He said to me, "Her uncle is her spiritual husband," and the girl found a physical fiancé, but his uncle assembled the spiritual children he had with his niece and they demanded the return of their mums. Speaking, the judge says, "This is unacceptable. What she committed it is adultery." The judge said, "Let her marry but she will have no children, and her husband will not be faithful to her, she will never be happy." May misunderstanding accompanies his marriage. This uncle was pleased with the verdict against his niece. The angel said to me, "Many people are suffering of this kind of marriage. Tell them how many people have children here in this spiritual world, and their happiness is transferred here since the first beneficiaries are children who will be here." I told the angel that the world is more spiritual than we imagined. "Certainly, it is the invisible government which decides on ordinary men," replied the angel, "but for those who believe in the Lord it is written, if they form plots against you, it will not come from me. Whoever joins forces against you will fall under your power." Isaiah 54 verse 15. Then, another lawsuit was filed. Someone came to accuse his friend since they were leading together a life of disorder. After his friend was converted and began to follow Jesus Christ, the plaintiff was accompanied by members of his friend's family. The judge asked the family members of the accused if they agree. They replied that they were disturbed by the light that their brother was bringing. So the judge said, "The camp he chose is a bit difficult, but we will inject him with the disease and condemn him to take drugs all his life." I was shocked to see a decision being made against a Christian. Doesn't God protect his own? The angel said to me, "Definitely. But in this case God will leave this disease as a test against his servant, only afterwards will he deliver him." He said to the church, when God calls a person, He prepares ways that will allow him to be established. He will now leave fights not to make her fall but rather him grow, since it is written, form plans, and they will be annihilated, give orders, and they will be without effect because God is with us. Isaiah 8 verse 10. I have seen so many trials and understood many spiritual things, Christians. I was shocked by all this, and the angel tells me all that you see happen like this, how people are captives of the devil. He condemns the world, but the Lord Jesus Christ came to set free those who are under the devil's yoke. The Lord wanted to show you these things to expose the work of the devil finally, that Christians may know how to defend themselves, because spiritual combat is a reality. Finally we had left the place of the trials for that of the caves. Leaving from there we found ourselves at the planned place.